Hi everyone, welcome to Muller Academy. Hope you are doing well. Today we are discussing the chapter Environmental Issues from NCRT Class 12 Biology, which is also prescribed in NEET and CUET syllabus. So, in our previous class, we learned about air and water pollution, and today we'll be learning about the greenhouse effect and the global warming. So, let's start with the question: what is the greenhouse effect? The greenhouse effect is a natural process that is responsible for heating the earth's surface and the atmosphere. And if we see this slide, we can see that it's an important process. So in absence of greenhouse effect, the temperature of the surface of earth was supposed to be minus 18 degrees centigrade instead of the current average 15 degrees centigrade. So it is an important process, but since we added other factors, the human beings, so now it's an evil process. So, what is the mechanism of global warming through greenhouse gases? So, as we can see from sun, uh, the rays are coming onto Earth, and the greenhouse gases they trap the heat from the sun, and this trapping of the heat keeps the planet at the temperature that is suitable for the human habitation. So the mechanism of this greenhouse effect is like when solar radiation from the sun enters the Earth's atmosphere and reaches the surface where it's absorbed and re-emitted as long wavelengths, that is infrared radiations. So greenhouse gases in the atmosphere like CO2 and water vapor and methane, nitrous oxide, they trap some of this long wavelength radiations, preventing them from escaping into space. So, the trapped heat warms the surface of the earth, and this warming effect is called as the greenhouse effect. So, increase in the concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere increases the greenhouse effect and causes the earth's average temperature to rise. So when we come to the primary greenhouse gases, we can discuss here. So CO2 is one of them, and this is produced by excessive burning of fossil fuel like coal and oil, and also from deforestation. This is really a major cause for releasing large amount of CO2. And second one is methane. It is produced as a result of agriculture activities such as livestock digestion, rice farming, and use of manure, etc. So, the third kind of uh, greenhouse gas is fluoricated gases like chlorofluorocarbons. These are the result of industrial process, and majorly they are produced from refrigeration. So, if we come to the contribution of these gases into greenhouse effect, so we can see the maximum effect is caused by CO2, that is 60%, and then methane causes 20% of, I mean, it contributes 20%, CFC is 14%, and nitrous oxide is 6%. So when coming to effect of greenhouse gases, as we already discussed, increase in level of greenhouse gases lead to heating of the earth's surface, and it leads to global warming. The temperature of earth has increased by zero point 0.6 degrees during last 3 decades. The global warming should have would deteriorate environment, and it would result in odd climatic changes also. So again, coming to global warming effects, rise in sea level happens due to the increase in temperature and melting of the polar ice caps. So this may lead to coastal flooding, as we know that several island countries are at the verge of extinction, and some are already preparing themselves. Like Tuvalu is one of the uh, most affected. They are just preparing themselves, and that's why they are very much interested in reducing this global warming. This is really unfortunate condition. And so global warming can lead to more frequent and intense heat waves, droughts, hurricanes, and wildfires. And change in agriculture and food security also. This can change the pattern for agriculture crops, and this can affect crop yield and, as discussed, the food security. So, how can we reduce the global warming effect? So, as we discussed, what are the factors which are responsible? If we remove those factors, definitely we'll be able to reduce some of these effects. So, because burning of fossil fuel, it causes global warming. So, if we reduce the use of fossil fuel, reduce deforestation, and if we try to use alternative sources of energy, more bioenergy things, like alternatives like wind, solar, biomass, geothermal, and hydro energy. So these alternative fuels are the renewable sources. So we can use them to reduce this global warming effect. So now coming to the second topic, ozone depletion. So ozone is a layer present in our atmosphere. This is actually good ozone is present in stratosphere, and it helps in absorption of UV rays and protects us. And the one this most important thing from here is Dobson unit, which is a unit to measure the thickness of ozone. You should remember this, and you should also remember these lengths of different spheres present above Earth's surface, like troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, exosphere. These seems just like numbers, but these are important numbers. You should remember them, and if you want them in more details, we can cover this in another chapter, because this chapter does not include too much of detail of all these layers, although all of them are very important and very interesting one. So uh, we are discussing that ozone destruction. So first of all, we should know what is ozone hole. This is the region of Earth's stratosphere where the concentration of ozone is significantly lower than the normal. And the ozone hole forms over Antarctica and is the result of human activity, specifically by the release of CFCs, by a release of CFCs in the atmosphere. CFCs rise into stratosphere, where they are broken down by UV light from the sun, and this breakdown releases chlorine atoms, which then react and break down ozone molecules and reduce the overall concentration of ozone in the stratosphere. And if you see the worst part, this chlorine is again released after the whole reaction. When you see this in second line, it's again released. So one chlorine atom can react lakhs of ozone molecules before being released from the air. So you can see how hazardous this thing is and how much destruction this is causing to the atmosphere. So coming to next thing, now the ozone hole, the controlled destruction of ozone in a stratosphere will lead to ozone hole, as we discussed. So this is particularly marked over Arctic region. This is the thinnest layer over there. And what are the harmful effects of UV radiations? UV radiations causes DNA damage and the mutation. This causes skin cancer, and cornea of eye gets damaged due to UVB radiation. So you can see that ozone protects us from these harmful UV rays and how important this layer is for us. So what government is doing for this, uh, to protect this ozone? There's very important protocol, Montreal Protocol, which was signed in Montreal, Canada in 1987 and was effective from 1989. And this was to control the emission of ozone depleting substances such as CFCs. So we have actually worked with this. This was very important one. If you want to learn into details of these protocols, this was only part of the syllabus. That's why we discussed this in very small. Otherwise, this is very important. So I will discuss Montreal Protocol and Kigali also in separate video. But for now, just keep repeating this. And thanks for listening. Just let us know if you have some issues, some questions, and if you learn something, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.